fights, argumentations, blame game, fault finding, making each other wrong or right. You know, if we think about an argument, it's like, plain and simple, we all know an argument is because, why is there a screen popping up on there? That's so ironic. Anyways, an argument, argumentation, you get in an argument. It's because because everyone's trying to push to make sure that what they're trying to get out is seen and understood, even if they don't fully see it or fully understand it themselves. And then if it's received wrongly, which 9 times out of 10 it's going to be, especially if it's not well articulated first, and then it becomes defensive, and defensive means taking that down that they're trying to project. They try to project it even with more force. And then if there's toxic ways of being, name calling, bringing up things in the past, putting things in like definite as you always or you never, all the stuff to really tear it down quickly to make it stop. Here's a poem, and no, I didn't write this, I'm not a poet. Okay, what is an argument? To the lawyer, it is a blade sharpened with reason, swung for the win, justice, a dual and tailored skin. To the lover, it's a cry. It is a cry. Not for victory, but for touch. Will you hold me even now this much? To the friend, it is a flame, testing the tether between two minds. Can we burn and still be kind? To the family, it is thunder, echoes of names and roles long worn, generational even. Do you see who I am? Not who I was born. To the worker, it is a slate, planted in meetings, cubicle soil. Does my vision matter in this toil? To the employer, it is a mirror reflecting values back in dissent. Will you bend or break with intent? To the stranger, it is a probe, worlds clashing in a glance, a tone. Is there a bridge across the unknown? To the enemy, it is a field, no place for mercy, only ground to claim. Will you yield or will you burn in flame? And yet, beneath all broken speech, all pointed words and silence breached, an argument asked again and again, am I alone or kin to men? Pretty cool, huh? I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't write it. Prompted it, yes. Written, no. You know, love languages. Love languages. What is there? There's 5 different love languages. I think it was, not Gottman's. Hang on. Where'd you go? Sorry about that. It took so long. It's difficult to find one book in a library of 99 books. It's so vast. No, but seriously, you know, words of affirmation, that's one love language. Quality time, that's another love language. Receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch. Basically, 5 generalized love languages. How we receive love, how we feel like we're loved, and how we feel like we're being appreciated, how we feel like we're being wanted, how we feel like we're being needed. You know, it's like this. The proposal of this is basically saying, you know, like, say if your love language was words of affirmation, and let's say it was more so that, and you needed that like freaking crops need the rain, and you're getting all 4 others, your partner or friend or workplace or whatever, they're giving you all 4 of these others, you know, just practically bending over backwards, giving you quality time, giving you gifts, doing acts of service for you, and even physical touch. Make sure that they make some kind of physical contact with you and stuff like that. But they're not actually giving you words of wisdom. You know, that creates that lays a field that creates a breeding ground for argumentation. It's like, well, I this, I that, I do all this quality time for you. I give you all these gifts. I do all these acts of service for you. Physical touch. You know, I'm always trying to make contact, and you tell me you feel so alone. It's because they're not getting those words of affirmation. Kind of like that. It's like in some, you know, and this is new to me. I've only been studying this thing like a year, and yeah, it still blows my mind, and I can see it in myself and other people. So, you know, in these love languages, it's like this isn't a common. I mean, it is a common book for people who study stuff like this. Apparently, it's one of the staples, along with some of the research from the Gottmans. But in just generalized circles of society, this is like psychological nutrition that we need for our emotional facilities and psychological for our mind, for our heart and our mind. And it's like these are like the nutrients. This is the water and nutrients. Could you imagine if you had to go your whole life to where somehow you shut down, and it's like, say you needed quality time. Let's say you had 2 of these very strongly, and you needed those extremely bad, but yet you, at the same time, you did not actually know that's what you needed in order to be a healthy, functioning adult. Say if you needed quality time and words of affirmation, and those 2 things, without those you dry and wither away real quickly. Say you could be getting gifts, let's say from friends, family, from work, or even like from the spirit of the universe, almost like a spiritual natural thing, and you're not getting words of affirmation or the quality time that you need and want. And just a generalized way, not any person in particular, but just across the board, your lovers, your family, your work, and you're not getting that and not knowing that you need that, that would make you a very sensitive person. If we think about plants. Okay, let's talk about marijuana plants. I can do that. Okay, marijuana plants, indoor plants, hydroponic plants, things like that. It's like they've got nutrients they got to have in their pHs. Those are their love languages, especially pH. And they're NPKs. They're nitrogen, potassium, and what's the other one? Calcium, magnesium. Anyways, the point is that's what they need to live with. And being in a water, not being in the ground, grown outside, it's like they're even more sensitive. They're even more prone to sicknesses and dying if that's not kept up with on a daily basis, if not every other day at a minimum. They need to be checked daily, because they go out of check and they're just so impossible to figure out which one, because all of them have the same symptoms. Most of them have the same symptoms, but yet you can go trying to fix this other thing, turns out it wasn't that, so you wound up doubling that up, making it even more sick, and you've only got a couple of days to figure it out before it gets to where you ruin it, stunt it, whatever. You may get it back on track, but your harvest ain't going to be very good. It's going to be low yield, could be low quality. It may still be alive. Okay, now having said that, think about, that's pretty much how we are. And then we go beating ourselves up, and we start feeling guilty, and we start wearing shame that we don't need to wear. We start wearing guilt that we don't need to wear, that we're not that good of a person, or we can't do this, or can't do that, can't function in this, or can't function in that, or it's like our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and we go into this retreat mode of trying to protect ourselves, just really. And that's the natural order of things. That's like our insides telling us, protect yourself, conserve energy, conserve emotional power, conserve it, hide it, stuff it. You only got a little bit to burn, and then we're just barely functioning. And for the most thing, for a lot of people will discover that alcohol, certain types of drugs, opiates, a lot of things like that, they cover those things, and it makes it appear like you're functioning and functioning well, make you feel like you're Superman. It's like even mean things that people say to you, you just brush it off and you can laugh it off. Yeah, I'm invincible. But really, that's not what's happening. It's like on the inside, getting weaker, 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 withering away, withering away. So, anyways, let's move right along, shall we? Here are 7 areas of arguments. 1 is lovers, 1 is friends. Okay, no, not areas, kinds. These are 7 kinds of argumentations. 1 is with lovers, 2 is with friends, 3 is with family, 4 is with workers, 5 employers, 6 strangers, 7 enemies. And you know, one thing, I think it was the Gottmans that said it. They do the love labs. Anyways, they said this one thing that just blew me away, and to this day, it's like it was something so deep and so profound. I didn't even have to write it down. I didn't have to practice and remember it. It just clicked. It just clicked. And that was the fact that they said what people are fighting about is not what they're fighting for. See, what they're fighting about is just all out front like that. It's just crazy. But what they're fighting for could be in here. And it's usually, they haven't got to that part yet. What they're fighting for is that. And it's like that. It just comes out like that. It's just like all up in your face. But it's like this is really what they're trying to share. So, lovers. An argument is a plea for closeness disguised as conflict. It's not about winning, but about being seen, heard, and emotionally met. It's basically, it's a subtle underlying tone that says, will you still choose me after this? Two, the second kind of arguments, friends. An argument is a stress test for trust. It reveals whether the bond can handle honesty and difference without breaking. Deep down, it's basically saying, can we disagree and still care? The third kind of argument, family. An argument is a clash of identities and legacies. Often it's less about the topic and more about roles, unmet expectations, or ancestral echoes. Generational traumas, things like that. And just underneath that, underneath the surface, what's being fought for, not what's being fought about, is basically saying, do you see me, who I've become? Can you see me now? Can you see who I'm becoming? Four, the fourth kind of argument, workers, colleagues. An argument is a negotiation of respect. It's a negotiation of ideas. It's a negotiation of territory. It's where collaboration meets ego. You'll be fighting about a million different things, but just underneath that, what you're fighting for is just a simple thing. Does my voice matter? That's all it's saying. Does my voice matter? The fifth argumentation, the fifth kind of argument. Employers. An argument is a test of power. It's a test of values. It's a test of vision. It measures whether dissent is punished or valued. That's what it's mostly being fought about. But what it's being fought for is we're fighting for, are we building the same future? The sixth kind of argument, strangers. An argument is a dance of worldviews. It can reveal common ground or deepen divides. And what those arguments are fighting for, not what they're fighting about. They'd be fighting about all kinds of, the left, the right, the red, the blue, I don't even know what all that stuff is. I can say the words. But anyways, all those political views, religious views and stuff like that, it says, can I trust your humanity? That's what we're fighting for. We're just fighting to know, can I trust your humanity? 7. The seventh kind of argumentation, the seventh kind of argument, enemies. An argument is war by other means, a contest of ideology, identity, or dominance. That's what things get fought about. That's what people are fighting about. That's what we're fighting about. And just underneath that, what we're fighting for is, will you yield or must I destroy you? That's basically what that goes down to. And if we look at that seventh kind of argument, that seventh kind right there, that very last one. How many times do we get caught up like in this funky loop to where it's like our emotions, our intellect, and our heart like jam up and it locks up and it goes into fight mode. Goes into panic mode, our heart flutters. It's like we can feel it on the inside. It's like something inside of us is screaming. It's screaming. I don't know if I can trust your humanity. It's screaming. Are we building the same future? It's screaming. Does my voice even matter? It's screaming. Do you see who am I becoming? Am I even seeing who I'm becoming? It's screaming. Can we disagree and still care about each other? It's screaming. Will you still choose me after all this? But yet, we treat each other like enemies. And maybe not even so much with words. It's like the mind, the emotions, and the heart, they get jammed up. It's kind of like a fatigue. No, it is a fatigue. No, not kind of like it. It is a fatigue. To me, I have failed throughout the years to build these mind and emotion muscles up, and failed to build my heart up. Because to have it trained up and in shape, okay, let's think about a runner. If a runner, like athlete, if an athlete, they need to be well versed in the types of energy systems our bodies use and how it uses the foods and waters we take, and they need to know about how it burns off, where lactic acid comes into play, a chemical called ATP, how long the system goes, and adrenaline, and all those things, and how they play. Because it's like when they bottleneck, it's like when the breathing and the heart can't keep up with pushing the energy into the bloodstream, the oxygen, to oxygenate the muscles, to keep the muscles firing off right, and then pushing that waste out. As it burns that fuel, it gets jammed up, and it gets jammed up in the muscles. It causes the heart to flutter, and it causes the lungs to start panting, and then that's where it just locks up. It's like if you run up a flight of stairs, if you really want to see what happens when you reach your max and it's not pushing out the waste and bringing in the new, it jams up and it forces the heart to flutter, because the heart's trying to pump more blood into the oxygen. It's like it's not getting that lactic acid out of the muscles, and it's like, yet it's screaming for more of that, and it can't do it at the speed it needs to be because you're sprinting. See that right there? There's a fine line in between emotional immaturities or just taking on too much. It's like, is your is your love languages tank full? Or is the love languages tanks full around with the people closest to you that you live with? You know, these aren't like common things that people check. It's like, yeah, we check in on each other to see if we're okay. And okay is okay. But it sure as hell ain't like thriving. Like your garden can be thriving or it's surviving. See, once a garden has grown to a certain degree, it goes out of check, it goes out of whack. You can get it to survive. It's like you just need to go ahead and finish it. Or you could, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either go ahead and just call it a loss, shut it down. You know the harvest ain't going to be that good, and just start prepping for the next season, or go indoors, or, you know, you see what I'm saying? Or you can go ahead and finish the harvest, and you know it's going to be low quality most likely, and it's not going to be a lot of quantity. And you go ahead and finish it anyway and treat it as if it's thriving. Treat it as if it didn't hit those bumps in the road that messed up whatever phase it was in. Because whatever phase it was in, whether it was in the seedling stage, the starter stage, or the veg stage, or the pre-bloom stage, or the bloom stage, or full bloom stage, see, that's how our relationships are. It has these levels, and whatever level the relationship was at, wherever it went out of whack, that will govern that harvest. Now, that's not to say, you know, it's like, okay, we started this relationship out, it kind of messed up here. It didn't kill it, but yeah, it really stunted it. And it's like, dang it, should have seen that coming. Wasn't paying attention. Let's go ahead and walk it off to the harvest and treat it as if, you know, it is a great harvest or a great crop. And hope better for the next one. You know, I think that's the way relationships basically are. Relationships are a great responsibility, but yet we don't. We're lacking information about the kinds of responsibility it takes to keep the emotional and the intellect healthy and growing and developing. You know, a simplification that I started using, you know, just for my own mind and my own sanity several years back. You know, I started pinpointing, you know, what love is, what true love is, not according to this or that, or what I've been told, or what this religion says, or that religion says, or this culture or that culture, but, you know, really digging deep and, you know, writing some just ideas out, and just working on that and working on that and working on that, you know, get a good idea of what it is and what it does. Keep that paper, look at it every day, be on break at work, sneak off by yourself, look at it every day, meditate on it. And I had several of those go through, but it came down to this. If I wanted to simplify it, what is really underneath all of the everything, all the underpinning, that the foundation of love, of true love, no matter what kind it is. Because see, at these kinds of argumentations, or the flip side, the opposite side of it, are kinds of true love, of kinds of love. But anyways, like the underpinning that would be under all of this, that is the essence or the fundamentals, or even just what's the very seed of it. If you could say there's a seed, that the very beginning of it, not the root of it, not the plant of it, not the seed. And I've came down to this. And anyone is absolutely welcome to disagree with it, to disregard it. It is my own perception for my own sanity, so I can wrap my head around it. It's kind of like my northern star, so to speak. You know, it's like my compass that I go to. Everything gets jammed up. I go back to that. It's my simplification. It brings in an ease to where I can say, okay, because it eliminates all the labels. It eliminates all the have to do this, have to do that. It brings it down to a state of being, Not so much doing, just a state of being. It's a state of awareness. And that state of awareness brings in what I call true love. In Napoleon Hill's book, he talks about this mastermind, this synergy of multiple minds. People sitting around with ideas. It's like that becomes like a metaphorical unity of mind. That, to me, that is true love. Two people, it's like we experience true love all the time. With strangers, meeting people in the stores, it's like you look each other in the eye and you get that little micro connection and you say hi or whatever, but there's like a connection. That. And those little connections, they grow. And it's like, that's what it is. And it's little micro moments, because it's in the micro moments. It's comprised of just so many little things. So it's attention. It's focused attention, connected attention from two different awarenesses that form like a third awareness. That's what I simplified it down to. And that's what works for me. Because it's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to do. Most generally. Most generally. Argumentations. The 7 argumentations. The 7 kinds of argumentations. The argumentations of lovers. All the infinity of things that can be fought about. It's basically a one principle under there that's being fought for. Same thing with the kind of friends arguments, that kind. It's just an endless things that can be argued about or bucking heads together or whatever. But it's like the underpinning, that thing below it, it's just one thing. It's like, can we disagree and still care? That's all. That's what we're fighting for, not what we're fighting about. What we're fighting for. Family. Same thing. That kind of argumentation in that context. Infinity of things we can fight about. We can fight about anything, everything, all day, all night, whatever. But underneath that, what we're really fighting for, that's driving that, that's pushing that, is, do you see who I've become? And I believe most of that is like we're basically fighting to get that well articulated for ourselves. So it's like we're saying that to ourselves, but yet we need that to be fought out with other people, and that's how it comes out. And then the kind of argumentation, the 4th argumentation in work, with colleagues, people we work with, there too. There's so many things we can fight about. We can fight about this, we can fight about that. We can fight about what's being done, how it's being done, what's not being done, what needs to be done, what should have been done, what ought to have been done, what could have been done. We can fight about all that stuff all day, all night long. And yet, just underneath that, all we're saying, what we're really fighting for is just, does my voice matter? That's all it is. Does my voice matter? That's all we're fighting for. It doesn't matter what we're fighting about. It's like, what are we fighting for? 5th kind of argumentation, employers. So many kinds of things we can fight about. Who has the power of this, and who's valuing this, and who's vision, whatever, all that. So many things to fight about, the ways it's getting to there or not getting to there, or who's messing it up getting there, or who's blocking it, or who's weighing it down, or who's not, or when, or where, or why. We can fight about that stuff all day long, all night long. It doesn't matter. Weeks on end, days on end, months on end, years on end. And what the driving force is pushing that, what we're fighting for, all we're fighting for is this one question that needs to be answered through all that stuff we're fighting is about is, are we building the same future together? That's all it is. It's like, can we avoid all that argumentation by saying, are we building the same future together? Or do we need to take all those scenic routes? See, that's the crazy thing about argumentation. Sometimes we need to take the rough road. Sometimes we need to take the scenic route. Sometimes we need to get off the main road and get on some bumpy roads, have some flat tires, break a tie rod in, have to get it pulled out of the mud, have to call a tow truck, have to get everybody to push the Jeep and the wagon out of the mud because we ain't got no signal and there ain't nobody coming in there to pull us out. We got to do it together. Sometimes those kind of argumentations can be good, but too much of it, obviously, it's not good. Who knows? Employers, strangers, things about strangers. Like, how many times do we fight with a stranger about something? We really don't. We may butt heads a little bit and we part ways. You may be talking to some stranger, or if you're at some kind of political rally or something or another, or some kind of protest, yeah, that's going to happen. That's where it is. That's it. And all it is the fight is just, we could be fighting about political views, we could be fighting about religious views, we could be fighting about racist views, we could be fighting about sexual identity views, we could be fighting about everything, anything, but when it comes down to it, it's all the underpinning force pushing that forward is just saying, can I trust your humanity? And you know, the last one, the arguments of the enemies. You know, there's the proverbs. You know, some people say it came from Africa. It's an African proverb. It's this proverb or that. I'm not here to argue about that. I'm just saying, I don't know its origins, but it says if there's no enemy within yourself, if a person is so reconciled with themselves and they can keep up with their own heart and mind and everything they've been through and everything they're doing, and they've reconciled those things, and they've illuminated those dark spots and those every crack and cranny and dark twist of their character and all the things they regret, the things they've done wrong, evil, whatever, and reconciled those things, made those things right with themselves and with the world and to others that they did wrong to, the better fine-tuned they are with that. There is no enemies without. They can deal with all that stuff. But it's like that, my God, that takes so much work, it takes so much paperwork, it takes so much notes, it takes so much time. It's like, my God, you got to work, you got to pay bills, you got to do this, you got to keep up with that. My God, it's a long day in school. It is a really long day in school. And you know what? Speaking of long day in school, it's 32 minutes and 55 seconds. And I am not sorry for rambling on. And if you've hung with me to the end of this video, then congratulations. I kind of thought it was a fun little ride. Have a good, see you in the funny papers.